Hello Chain Gang, and welcome back to the 4 Chains Travel and our 4 Chains in Italy playlist. Last week's video was on everything you need to know about renting a car in Italy, and this week we're going to talk about how to use public transportation in Italy and the strengths and weaknesses of choosing public transportation.
If you are a full-time or slow traveler like us, you know that in the vast majority of the world, you have very viable options to choose either renting a car or using public transportation. It is almost always just a matter of knowing the area, factoring in your comfort level, your financial situation, and what are your most important priorities during your visit. In Italy, this decision impacts your visit more than anywhere else because of how different driving a car is in Italy and how different using public transportation is in Italy. The other thing that is different about Italy are the cities and towns. They are all so very different, and often that difference will impact your decision about renting a car or using public transportation. In almost every place that you would visit in Italy, both renting a car or public transportation are certainly viable options. I haven't been any place where I think that renting a car is the clear choice as it is in, say, Ireland, where you should definitely be renting a car because of the layout and the lack of alternatives unless you are specifically in Dublin or Cork. Another issue is whether Italy has any places that are like London. If you saw our London video, I think we made it clear public transportation is a clear choice. There are people that drive in London, of course, but is on the other side of the road. They live there, and it's just difficult to navigate the roads if it's new to you. And you already know that if you saw Chevy Chase's European Vacation.
Hey, look, kids! There's Big Ben and there's Parliament!
There it is.
I know. I can't seem to get over to the left, honey.
This journey is going to take you through all of the public transportation that we used over a series of months in Italy. We will show you how to navigate them, and we'll let you know the strengths and weaknesses of all of them so you can make an informed decision when you visit Italy and get the most out of your trip. Although we are full-time slow travelers, our journey on this video begins in London, where we used exclusively public transportation and were accompanied by our daughters. So we were moving around a lot faster, and then we went to the Amalfi Coast. Now, as I teased, the Amalfi Coast is a place where renting a car is not optional, and you're going to see why. There are 2 excellent choices, though. One of those choices is the ferry. They have ports in every city, beginning with Salerno. This is Maori, where we were standing. Generally, you will be able to see a booth in town prior to getting to the port, and that is where you will buy your tickets, and then you will come in. This is the Travelmar ferry, which is the one that most people use, and get on the ferry on each port. There's always plenty of employees to show you where to go and what line to stand in, and in this case, this is the Positano port. Now, the ferry is relatively expensive if you're only judging the transportation value of it, but of course, you are going to be taking that ferry in one of the most beautiful spots on Earth and looking at some absolutely incredible views. How much you pay, by the way, depending on how far you are going in terms of how many ports away. But to me, it is like buying a cruise, and you're also getting transportation out of it. So if you think about it that way, it actually is a good deal. Now, there has been a lot of internet speculation lately about how amazing the buses are in the Amalfi Coast, and essentially it is selling it as a great way to view the Amalfi Coast at exponentially cheaper prices. An important point is that although it is cheaper, it is not like other towns in Italy where you can pay for the bus by just tapping your phone. We'll show you that later. You need to buy the tickets at specific places, and it's not exactly accurate, so I'm going to show you here where we bought ours. Generally, they're for sale in tabaccerias, but not all tabaccerias. You will see signs outside a bunch of tabaccerias saying that they do not sell bus tickets there because 75% of their customers asks for it, and you saw the one where we did buy our ticket. The prices to get on the bus one way are generally like $2 or $3, and they do come very often depending on the popularity of the port. Here's my opinion, I'll just spoil it. I think you should do both because the ferry is such an amazing experience. The bus is so inexpensive, and it's a way of viewing the Amalfi Coast from a different angle. But when you take the bus, that is going to show you why you should not rent a car. I'm showing you some footage here. Just imagine you were driving one of these cars. Does that seem safe to you? I considered all of our bus drivers on a skill level equal to any professional F1 driver. Their margin for error was absolutely zero on both sides. It seemed like we were hugging the rock wall constantly, but also coming within inches of getting to a bus. Now, here's the one downside about both the bus and, I suppose, if you made the mistake of renting a car. If there is a single accident on this one main road that has offshoots, but to get between cities and towns, you definitely have to take this one main road. If there is one accident, it can cause a traffic jam that perhaps, depending on where you're from, you have never seen before. It is such a bottleneck. It is unbelievable. And if you're trying to take a bus to a tour that has a specific start time, that is a risk that you are running. It doesn't happen all the time because these drivers are very used to it, but it does happen, and we've definitely witnessed the traffic backups from both the ferry and on the beaches of various towns. So, consider that when making your choice. Regardless of where you are going on your Italy adventure from the Amalfi Coast, you are almost certainly doing it through Salerno. Although Salerno isn't technically part of the Amalfi Coast, it is a great home base if you want to spend your time with authentic Italians, and it is also the transportation hub, so you're probably going in and out of the Amalfi Coast that way anyways. One of the things I like about Salerno, I'll just throw in a plug, is that we love the Poke restaurant, which you've probably seen in a couple of videos, so make sure you stop there, and then you're either taking a train, a bus, or you're renting a car. On this particular trip, this is where we rented our car to drive to Matera, so we are going to skip this part of our adventure. If you'd like to see that, look at last week's video where we talked about the strengths and weaknesses of renting a car, and we go on that adventure. So I'm going to skip ahead to Bari, where we returned our rental car. FYI, spoiler alert, last week's video, if you haven't seen it, we actually returned the car early, even though we didn't get a reimbursement for the day we didn't use it, because the parking situation was so time-consuming and expensive, but that's another video. Since that part, we were taking public transportation in Bari, and our first trip was to take a bus to the absolutely stunning bucket list destination of Castellana Grotte, so we're going to take you through that process. The first thing to know, and this would come in very important later on, is that in most Italian cities, the bus stop and the train stop are at the same spot, and I personally always buy both my train tickets and my bus tickets on the Trenitalia website. There is a small service charge when you buy your tickets here, but I like the comfort of knowing that the ticket is purchased and out of the way. If you're staying someplace for a long time and you're familiar with the schedule, you can easily buy it at the station. We are here at Bari Centrale train station, which you're going to do any time at all in Puglia. you are definitely going to be spending some time here. Scusi, dove questa fermata?
Questa?
We have used public transportation maybe 100 separate days in Italy, and this is only the second time that I had difficulty.
Regione?
Sì, Castellana Grotte. My problem started because I usually pronounce things correctly, but I was pronouncing Castellana Grotte incorrectly, and that caused some confusion. The other part that's confusing is that Bari is an enormous hub, and there is actually a complete other side to the station where different buses and trains leave from, and he was telling me that I was on the wrong side. Of course, it's Italy, so a complete stranger stepped in to make sure I understood where to go. Okay. Sottoterra, l'altra...
Sottoterra uno è...
Ok. Sì.
Ok?
Ma io vivo.
Dall'altro lato.
Okay, grazie.
Other side.
Other side, sì.
Grazie.
For those of you who don't speak Italian, non parlo italiano, he said go in the station, go to the other side, 100 meters, and it is the Largo Chiaia FSE. So we're gonna go find that. Okay, we see this sign here. It says Ferrovi, like ferroviaria is train del sud-est, so southeast. So we're headed this way. Up these stairs. Altro lato, he said the other side. So we just went underneath. If you're taking a train, we just went underneath. Oh, and you see all these buses out here. Found this sign. You can see it says Bari Centrale at one end and Putignano at the other. So we want to look for a bus that says Bari Putignano. And I believe this one does. This one says Bari Putignano and also says 131 Bay, which our tickets say. So we're here. Okay, so you can see we did make it on the bus. We even had time to stop by a grocery store and get a couple of cold bottles of water that were only 26 cents each. The bus was really nice. Air conditioning, as you can see. There's a reading light. The sights were really nice. All the stops on the way. You can see the water bottle that we got there. Prior to today, the only problem we ever had with public transportation was about 14 years ago when there was an electrical explosion at a station we had to transfer to, but we were able to recover from that, and we were about to run into another unexpected problem.
So we've had our first change of plans of today's trip. We were supposed to take the bus directly to our stop, which is Castellana di Grotto, and we are not at that stop. We are at the train station because the bus driver told us to get off one stop shy of our stop. So we are at Conversano. So he told us to get on a train, and I guess we take one train stop to our destination. So we were not planning on this in terms of timing, as we wanted to eat once we got to the town center before we went into the caves. I don't know what's going to happen. It's all part of the adventure.
What's going on is this isn't something you'll likely encounter, but there's always a possibility you'll encounter something similar. The Giro d'Italia, which is a famous bicycle race, probably actually the second most famous race to the Tour de France, is happening, I guess, blocking the next bus stop. So we are being dropped off early, and it is about 36 minutes before the train gets. So I guess we'll look to see if maybe there's some food around here. But yeah, hopefully this train, just be praying for us. Hopefully we can get to where we're going.
It's all part of the adventure.
Yes. Hey! Come on! Vincere, vincere!
Buonasera.
Okay, well, we did not think we were going to be on a train today, but we are. It did come on time, thank goodness, so... Castellana Grotte has one of these helpful maps right inside the train station. That map gave us directions, and the walk to the Castellana Grotte was very easy. It was 28 minutes long, a little over a mile, and so for this particular destination, maybe renting a car would be better. But I think the overall lesson for this is we had something rare happen to us that made our trip inconvenient, and we were still able to easily reach our destination with far less stress involved than we had finding parking spaces every night in Bari. Speaking of Bari, I mentioned we usually use our phone to get tickets on the app, but on one occasion we did buy tickets at the station, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that video now. The way I would recommend is to use these machines. There's several of them at every station. Normally there's no line, but in a big hub like Bari there usually is a line. They have separate machines for both the Trenitalia and the Italo trains on the major stations where they operate. There is another way of getting a ticket. You can take a number and buy directly from a person in the station, but that wait is longer, and these machines are pretty easy to navigate. So I'm going to take you through me getting part of the ticket here so you can see how easy it is.
I want 2 adults, round trip, 10 onwards, confirm, 18 onwards, continue. Okay, so we want the 10:10 flight for sure. Train, yes.
Collect your ticket.
We got them all, great.
Both the app on your phone and the machines at the station have options to see all of the instructions in English. The tickets do not, but all you have to do is take a picture with your camera and have it translated that way. Speaking of Bari, it is the most popular home base for traveling to Puglia destinations. We stayed there 32 days. All our day trips went super smooth except for the aforementioned Castellana Grotte. But then when it came time to move from Bari to Rome and then Florence, well, we had an issue, and I think it's instructive to see how we got out of it. I recommend spending a little bit extra to upgrade your class of train, but not for the food, obviously. That's supposed to be a ham sandwich. Taking the free food should just be the water and the coffee and the snacks. The views are great. You get assigned seats, and there's a place to put your luggage, and that's worth it.
So we have a situation on our hands. This is one of the things that can happen on a train that generally just does not happen in a car. Our transfer time was 15 minutes, which is an eternity to get from one train to the other. It's not a problem normally, unless it's late. It left 5 minutes late, and it is now 75 minutes late. I'm assuming because there were trains ahead of us, because we were just like stopping in random places. And one of the things that's great about train tickets is if that you are late, if you think you're going to be late and you can't make a train, you can switch the reservation up until the minute that the train leaves. So that's great. Except for the fact that since this ticket is both, as far as the computer is concerned, my train left when we left Bari, not even though it's a different train that leaves Rome. So I talked to the person on the train, and he's going to try to get because even though I've never had problems with internet before, first time I actually need internet, I am having problems getting on the internet here. So hopefully they can help us get seats.
Here's how it played out. There was a guy who walked up and down in uniform and asked for people's transfer. He told us what train to get on. We were further delayed, but he came back and told us a better train. When we arrived in Roma Termini, we went right to that train, and at the door there was an attendant, and he assigned us seats at that point, although we didn't get the comfort of having the seats assigned ahead of time. So we wound up getting to Florence about an hour and a half later than usual, but the process of transferring the trains was really quick and really easy, and we did not spend more than 5 minutes in the Rome terminal before getting on that train. So it was tense, and I was worried about it, but I'm giving you the benefit of hindsight, knowing that they make sure that it works out for you. Before we move on, I want to get some quick hit topics that get a lot of attention on the internet. The first one is validating your ticket. I've seen videos of people who legitimately purchase tickets and then claim to have had to pay a huge fine because they didn't get that ticket validated before they entered the train. Supposedly, you only have to do that on regional trains, but I can tell you that we tried to validate our tickets every time, and every time we're told we don't need to. But please comment below and let us know whether you've had an incident like that. Then there's the issue of whether people who live in Italy ever pay for public transportation. If you look out for this, you will notice that it seems like they get on the buses and the trains en masse and they never pay. And there's certainly some of that. We talked to locals who say they haven't paid in years. I talked to another one that says he hasn't paid in 6 years. He got caught once and paid a $50 fine, but that's far less than he would have paid for the tickets. However, we did see a family of 4 board a train. They did not have tickets. When the conductor came by to scan everybody's tickets, they didn't have them, and I can tell you they paid for the tickets and a significant fine. So it's just what you're comfortable with. We don't mind paying. It's very cheap. The third issue are strikes. Rail and bus strikes seem to happen often in Italy. However, they're manageable because they are announced in advance on all the news stations.
And here we are in Trani. Nobody took our ticket, by the way. I hear horror stories about people not validating. The lady told me we didn't have to, and then nobody came to look at our ticket. There is a train strike tomorrow. Train strikes don't normally last very long, but they have them a lot more commonly in Italy than they do other places. So, like tomorrow, we will be editing because we don't really have a choice. And if you have a rental cars don't go on strike.
So now we're in Florence, where renting a car makes absolutely no sense unless you're on the outskirts of the city and you're going to spend all your time taking day trips. There are tons of public transportation options, and the volume of choices can be intimidating. So we are going to run you through several of them so you will feel comfortable when you get there.
We are on a bus.
Adventure.
Yeah, we are on a bus to Santo Spirito. This was very easy. We just used Apple Pay and paid for this. Now, this is an AT bus in Italy. They suggest that you use the app. It is the worst reviewed app in the history of apps. It's 1.5, but I couldn't find any review over a 1. So do not download the app. If you use the AT bus, use Apple Pay. It's very easy. We're trying something different today, the tram. We had no idea how to do it. We're hoping it would be simple and we could just use our phones like the bus. We're going to report back to you if this works. It's $1.60. That actually worked better than we thought. It was so quick, we missed our stop, which was 5 minutes from where we're going.
Because I was looking up the return route and I missed our stop.
But this next stop at San Marco University is 7 minutes from where we're going, which is Mercato Centrale. Here is a lesson for the tram. If you're taking the tram, follow this map and this map only. Angie just put the thing in ChatGPT and it told us to get on the complete opposite tram that we got on. So we are now significantly further from the apartment than when we left. So this map will tell you, and it'll be easy. Okay, we are trying yet another transportation option. You do pay the same way.
That's throughout Florence, I read.
Oh, okay. So
all the trams
you just touch your phone to it. Yeah, and this is called the C buses. It was a couple minutes further walk from
And the
our...
C stands for circular because it goes around the tourist spots.
So if you miss your stop, like we did on the tram yesterday, you can just stay there and then go. So I'll turn this around and show you what I mean. It does look different.
It's like a little bus, like a half bus.
I don't know if we actually showed you, but that is what you pay with. And these are only 10-seaters.
And it's under $2.
Yeah, under $2. Yay!
$2. Right. I feel like my face is very big.
I know. But good, comfy, lots of legroom.
So the advantage of the smaller buses here is that they can get in town in these very, very narrow streets where the bigger buses cannot. So you can get closer to tourist destinations if you take the C line on the bus.
Before we took this line, I was thinking to myself, why wouldn't you just have this be a different route on the other lines? But it's really unique. I mean, if you can see how close we are to the streets. And the other thing that makes it different is you can see a bunch of tourist sites, the Duomo and Palazzo Vecchio and Uffizi Gallery and stuff like that, because it gets a lot closer than other places. So the reason why this is different is because it really does get you closer. Am I right? I mean,
To the tourist stops.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do. Hop on, hop off.
it does take longer because it's going through streets that, like, you can just see how close the people are when you're walking. So it's going, it has to go a lot slower, but it's a unique product. It's good.
Yeah.
We just got off of the C bus, which is one we've never taken in Italy, and it really worked. It got us through areas other buses can't take, but there are two options. You could take it, and it could get you closer to where we are going, the gardens we are going to see, but you would have to transfer. So we decided to get this one. It requires that you cross the Arno River, but I will try to go slow
By
here
foot.
so it won't be, dizzying. We love crossing the Arno River, and in fact, behind us is the Ponte Vecchio. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right back there.
Yep. In conclusion, we will be returning to Italy for the remainder of our lives while we're capable, and we will probably always choose public transportation, but I can see where in certain cities, different people with different priorities would choose to rent a car. I hope you choose to like this video and to subscribe to our channel and to follow our adventures and follow our advice. And we will see you as always next Saturday on the 4 Chains Travel.